Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters. I'm here with another electronic drum video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at that. That is an Avatar SD61-6 electronic drum kit. I was pretty impressed with the Avatar tabletop drum kit that they sent me a while back, and they asked me if I wanted to do a review of this one, and I said sure. So I don't have any space left in my apartment, so I'm here where I teach here in Brooklyn. And today's no class today, but this is my teaching drum studio here. And there's an E-Star that I also did a review on a while back. That's also held up quite well for a couple of years now for teaching. And I'm gonna set up this electronic set here in the studio as well, and we'll see how it does. So I'm really excited about checking this thing out. Before we get started though, be sure to check out my record label, which is anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com. You can pick up the Drumless library, which is a huge set of songs that you can play drums to that has the BPM and time signature all listed. That are all of my original compositions, and I stream them pretty much weekly here on my channel, so you can watch me play them there as well. But it's only $15 for 35 songs, so check that out with the link down below, and let's go ahead and get started with this video. All right, I just opened the box, and I've seen things packed a little better in my life, but oh well, we'll just open it up. I mean, it's not like it's horrible, but it's just kind of like, you know, a bunch of individual boxes thrown in there. Here's the instructions, it looks like. So I'm gonna unbox this and get everything out of here, then show you guys what. I'm not gonna bore you with showing all of the unboxing. I think that's kind of pointless. So let me do that and then I'll be right back. All right, so I got everything unboxed, and it looks pretty standard for this type of drum set so far. The one thing I did notice that there's only the headphone output and an auxiliary input plus a USB input-output on there. Now I'm curious to see if that USB transmits only MIDI, or I'm hoping that it will do audio and MIDI. I don't know why I'm expecting it to do that, because usually only Rolands or Yamahas will do that. But this is a pretty new set, and you know, given that there's no other way to really hook it up if you want to record it, you know, unless you're recording MIDI or you're using the standard headphone output with an aux cable. That's really the only way that you could record this module as is. So, but we'll see. I'm gonna set it all up and we'll see how it goes. Another observation here is it comes with this little kick pad, which is pretty nice. Nice little touch. It's kind of like a foam, like it's pretty thick. It's like a foam little kick pad thingy. There's some Velcro ties for the cables and then a drum key. It does not come with a throne, at least in this package, but it did come with some drumsticks. So, drumsticks, no throne. There's both pedals. You have the bass drum pedal here, which looks fairly decent. And then there's a hi-hat controller pedal, which actually, this one surprisingly feels, I mean, I haven't played it yet, but I mean, just holding it, it feels like pretty nice quality. So, let me put together this pedal, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and set everything up. This is, you know, it's a pretty standard drum kit with a snare pad, 3 tom pads, bass drum pad, and then hi-hat and 2 cymbals. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it together and we'll see how it goes. All right, I got it all set up. And okay, I was playing for a little while, and my first impressions are it's really not too bad. Well, it's pretty good actually. I don't wanna say, sound like it's bad at all. I played probably about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and had no issues. You know, of course, that's not a very long test. The module sounds fairly decent, and actually it sounds quite a bit better than the Donner module for a similar priced and, you know, featured drum kit. All of the pads seem to be dual zone, all the cymbals seem to be dual zone, and all of them are chokeable, including the hi-hats. The bass drum pad is nice and big. It's nice that it comes with that kick pad on there, so you can actually use that as your, you know, to basically protect your mesh head from going bad for a long time. That thing's really thick. I can't see that ever really wearing out. The hi-hat pedal does feel really nice, like I said. It actually has the splash feature too. Let me turn up the amplifier a little bit so you can hear it. The rack is good. It's very sturdy. It seems like very similar to the Donner rack, which also I thought was pretty good. You don't have a lot of options where you can put things. The cymbals pretty much just go where they are. because they stick down inside of the corner posts of the rack on both, including the ride and the crash. It seems to be a standard sized rack, so you probably could, add on things if you wanted to. It's metal. All the joining pieces are plastic. That's pretty common in drum kits in this price range. Rack and hardware feels very similar to the Donner. The cymbals, I think, probably a step above as far as quality-wise and sound-wise. The module is definitely a step above the Donner, a couple of steps above the Donner. Now, the module, though, on the other hand, even though it sounds pretty good, it's very limited as far as the outputs you get. As I said before, all it has is a single auxiliary output or headphone output right there. And then it also has an aux input and then a USB connection. The USB, unfortunately, is not audio. It's MIDI only. So if you want to record, you're going to have to use this output, and that's all. Unless you're using MIDI, which a lot of people aren't going to be using MIDI. So I'm going to go ahead and test MIDI as well. Well, first I'm going to give you some playing examples of the kit, how it sounds out of the box. And then I'm going to hook it up to Superior Drummer 3, and we'll see how it does. All right, let's take a look at some of the other features that the module has. One of them being a click, which just about every drum module has. And how do we start this? I think we press multi, there we go. Now the multi button actually just does a lot of different things on the module. The module itself sounds really, really good, I think. But the only drawback is it has very limited controls here and very limited outputs on the back. But you can do click track. It has some songs, so let's go ahead and listen to a couple of these songs here. I mean, this is the first time for me hearing these songs, and they're quite interesting, actually. That is like almost like a very dissonant, interesting sounding chord progression there for a internal song on a drum module. And now I'm gonna have to figure out how to use this a little better. Let me see, I'm looking at the manual right here. For the click track, it seems like, or click mode, you can change the tempo. You can, what else? Basically, that's about it. You can basically just change the BPM. It's very limited. It seems like the song, you can just change through the different songs, and now, unfortunately, I can't really find a way to turn off the drums, like the built-in drums on the songs. So I guess you just kind of have to play along with them. But the songs, like I said, are very interesting, though it's a little bit limited as to what you can actually do with them. It does have a record mode as well, where you can record your performances. And then there are some trigger parameters too. So if we go into the drum mode here, if we hold down the multi button for more than 2 seconds, though these trigger parameters are very limited, it seems like you only have one setting per trigger, and it's a combination of crosstalk and sensitivity. So I'm not really sure if I'd even mess with that. They seem to trigger just fine right out of the box. So that's pretty much it. It has basic functions. The MIDI output works really well, and the built-in sounds are quite good for the price. I would say out of all three, the Nitro, the Donner set, and this Avatar set by HXW, I think this one has the best internal sounds out of all of them. Now, I don't think that there's a way to create any custom kits. They seem to be just presets that you really can't change. Although the presets all sound pretty good to me. So, there's definitely some usable things in there. Of course, if you're using this for a MIDI connection only and using like Easy Drummer or Superior Drummer like that, you really wouldn't have to worry about that. But overall, I think it's pretty good. Now, I think this thing is actually a pretty good buy. The sounds in the module actually surprised me quite a bit. I actually think they sound pretty darn good. Like, there's a lot of them in there that are actually pretty usable. And I'm not just even saying that. Like, I think it's, as far as sound quality, a step above the Alesis Nitro. Though the module doesn't have nearly as many features as the Alesis Nitro does, since the Nitro actually has left and right audio outputs and a standard MIDI input and output, as well as a USB connection and all of that stuff on there, plus a headphone jack. This being much more simplified, kind of like a, basically just an audio output and an auxiliary input and a USB connection, but it actually sounds pretty good for what it is. Definitely better than the Donner module, like way better than the Donner module. And the drums actually respond really well when you're playing them. Like, you probably noticed it was picking up quite a bit of nuance and ghost notes and things like that I was doing, which is really good. Like, the Donner kind of struggled with things like that. The Alesis Nitro does that pretty well as well. So overall, where does it stand in the sub $500 drum sets? I think it's like, you know, probably just as good as the Alesis Nitro in a lot of ways, maybe a little bit better in some ways, and maybe not as good in other ways. The ways where it's better is the drum rack is definitely better than the Nitro. It's more solid, it's higher, so if you're a little bit taller, it's gonna be better for you there. It has a mesh kick drum pad, which is better than the Nitro as well, which will truly accommodate a double bass drum pedal, though I don't know if that pad, actually it does look like that pad they gave me would fit a double bass drum pedal, but I'm not totally sure. I don't have one here to test it with. The kick drum tower itself will, but I'm talking about that protection pad that they give you, so you may not be able to use that if you're using a double kick. The cymbals all work really, really well, and the cymbal sounds within the module I thought were great, actually, surprisingly good. The hi-hats actually sound much more expressive than the Alesis Nitro module, or the Nitro hi-hats rather.
All right, there's also a couple things I forgot to mention here, so I'm just doing a quick edit. Each cymbal and each pad, with the exception of the kick drum pad, are all dual zone on this Avatar kit. Each cymbal is all chokeable, including the hi-hat. So these are all better features than the Alesis Nitro. The Alesis Nitro only has one dual zone pad and one chokeable cymbal, and none of the cymbals are dual zone. So in that regard, this thing actually has quite a lot more features than the Nitro and the Surge, actually. The Surge has dual zone toms, but only single zone cymbals. So, yeah.
Now, the parts where it's not as good as the Alesis Nitro, like I said, you don't have as many options in the module as you do on the Nitro. You can't fine-tune things as much. You don't have as many inputs and outputs. So, you know, it's a little bit of a step down, a little bit of a step up, depending on how you look at it. Now, durability-wise, I don't really know yet, but since this is going to be a teaching drum set, I'm going to find out, because I'm going to have kids in here every single week bashing on this thing all day long. So we'll see how it does in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I'll try to update you guys with another video. But overall, I think it's a great buy. So you can check out the link down below if you're interested. And thanks to Avatar for sending this to me. Just to let you know, this was a complimentary drum set, but these are all of my honest opinions of it. I was having a lot of fun playing this thing, going through all the presets. I do wish it had a better audio output so it would be easier to record. When I plugged it into Superior Drummer 3, I did nothing. I set up nothing. All I did was select a preset in Superior Drummer 3, and it triggered absolutely perfectly. Everything triggered the right way and the right sounds, and it actually worked really, really well in Superior Drummer 3. Much, much better than when I tried the Donner module in Easy Drummer. I didn't have Superior Drummer at that point, but it's the same kind of thing. The Donner struggled to keep up, you know, when I played fast notes and things like that. So this one does not do that. The MIDI input seems to work, or MIDI output rather, seems to work really, really well on this one. And yeah, it's good. I mean, I figured after playing with that multi-pad they sent me, and I liked it a lot, I still have it, I figured this one would be, you know, pretty decent, and it is. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell icon and like button so you get notified every time I upload new content. Actually, you don't have to click the like button for that, but go ahead and do that anyways. Be sure to check out my music at anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Later!